It is a time to remember and celebrate. And we're going to do that today with one of Nelson Mandela's close friends. He is Jerry Inzerillo. He is the president and CEO of IMG Artists. He knew Nelson Mandela for more than 20 years. Mandela served as godfather to his daughter. And I remember that Nelson Mandela was best man at your wedding, Jerry Inzerillo. Welcome.
Thank you. Good
morning.
morning.
I know last night you have talked to members of the inner circle. What are they saying to you?
Yeah, it's very interesting because after really 6 months since June 8th that the chief, as we call him, was struggling, there was profound sadness, but everybody felt to rejoice as well.
Yes.
So, you know, there was a duality because while everybody, when you get that final call, that it really hits you in the stomach for all of us. Mm-hmm. But then all of a sudden, moments later, you get these waves of joy because you reflect on who he was and his, teachings to you. It was very sweet. So I think everybody has a heavy heart around the world, and especially in South Africa. But I think also there's an equal outpouring of real joy and festivity.
Yes, I feel that.
You know, many people have seen the public Mandela, but you got to see the private Mandela.
Yeah,
How was he different than those of who saw him only in terms of what they read or saw in pictures?
You know, the one great thing, it was his authenticity. And he really never changed. But the beautiful thing about what you knew about him in private is that he was very human. So, you could see him mad, and he had no problem being mad. You could see him joyful. You could see him being self-effacing. You could see him being playful. You could see him being flirtatious, which he was all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the first time my mother came over to South Africa, and I took my mother to see him at the house. And I walked in, and, it was a big moment because my mother hadn't met him. And he had these big, chubby fingers like sausages. And he waved his finger at me, and he says, you have done me a great disservice today that you bring such a young, beautiful woman to my house because now all the young boys in the neighborhood will be jealous.
That was so. Did you ever see him lose his temper, Jerry? You said to see him being
Yeah, I saw him. Not a yeller or a screamer, but I remember once I was kind of on his flank because we were doing a state dinner for an African head of state who had promised them some contributions to the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, and let's just say that the contributions didn't come in according to the schedule of what Madiba. And if you made a promise to Madiba, he held you to his promise. I mean, he was very principled that way. But when the head of state walked away after the photo op and everything, he turned and he said to me, "What a jerk." And that made me feel so great because it was so human that it, when you have these great world leaders, when you have these great moral authorities, they're put on such a pedestal, you don't think that you have any way to relate to them. Mm-hmm. But Mandela just had that beautiful way that for little children, I mean, truly, if you were 4 or 94, he had a way to relate to you.
So how come you had such a remarkable friendship? How did you get to know him?
We met on his historic first visit to New York, and I participated in the logistics for his visit, being on the hotel side of the equation. And Robert De Niro, my beloved friend, hosted a beautiful reception and dinner for him down at the Tribeca Grill. And we became very acquainted, and he said to me, "Would you consider helping me in South Africa?" And when
your wife is South African.
Yes, my divine wife Prudence was born and raised in Cape Town, very dear with Madiba. And after several conversations, he said, "Would you consider helping me in South Africa?" And when I was 13, Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. So I decided to move over to South Africa and help him.
Thanks, Jerry. Great to see you.
Great, thank you.
Jerry.
Thank you.